Hello, my name is Bill Green, and I am the oldest blacksmith at Brandywine Forge. What you're looking at here is the old blacksmith shop in Marshallton, Pennsylvania. It's in Chester County, 20 miles west of Philadelphia. And it sits on an old road that originally ran from Philadelphia out to Lancaster. And the town's dotted with roads. It crosses a bunch of creeks. It goes uphill and down. But for the most part, the towns that you come to along this road basically were built around an inn and a blacksmith shop. And the blacksmith shop was real important for the local farmers. When we moved out there in the 1950s, the old fella from whom my parents bought the farm, he was still farming with horses. The fella behind us had a tractor, but he pulled horse-drawn equipment, put loose hay in the barn. And that was Chester County in the 1950s. It was a different world. It was a wonderful place to grow up. The town of Marshallton sits up on a hill, and it's between the two branches of the Brandywine Creek. If you continued straight on this road, it would drop down to the west branch of the creek. If you went the other way on the road, it would drop down to the east branch of the Brandywine Creek. It was a major road, so there was an awful lot of foot traffic and vehicular traffic on the road. So the blacksmith built the shop, by the road where the people were. And inasmuch as the only way you can get there was to go up a hill. And if you're pulling a load with horses, when they got to the top of the hill, they would be a little tired. Need a drink, need a rest, need some shade. So the blacksmith shop, I'm sure, had a couple of watering troughs outside to draw the teamsters and their horses into the shop. The rest of the traffic, this really was back in the day. This was the main road from Philadelphia to Lancaster, so it was bustling. There was stuff going from the country into the city, people bringing in produce. You'd have a lot of drovers on the road. When people brought livestock in from the country, everything had to walk. So people would bring their cows, they would herd them, they would have dogs, they would prod them with a stick, they'd keep them together in a little herd and move them from the farm to the market in Philadelphia. The same with geese and sheep and, anything small like that they could manage. Okay, so we had an awful lot of produce moving from the country into the city to feed the folks. That was traffic heading eastbound on the road. And heading westbound out towards Lancaster from Philadelphia, there was at least that much trade going out that way. The farmers would come into the city. The teamsters would make regular runs from the city out to Lancaster. Heavy horses, heavy wagons, loaded up with finished manufactured goods from England. The farmers, they'd sell their cows and things, and they'd have a little shopping list that their wife had in mind. And they would buy needles and finished fabrics and the sorts of things that came in from England. Finished ironwork, locks for your door, fine chisels and woodwork and stuff. So we're going both ways. There were also a lot of peddlers. There were a lot of folks with a push cart, and they would do the same thing. They'd go to Philadelphia, they would buy up things that they felt were needed in the country. Then they would push their wagon from Philadelphia out here and beyond and just go from door to door and sell the good British stuff that wasn't available from any place else. The blacksmith shop is very typical of late colonial architecture in the area. And it's in a remarkable state of preservation. Everything's original. The mortise and tenon window frames, the hand-blown glass in the windows, the sway in the roof. Actually, this place was occupied by a blacksmith when I was a kid. There was an old man. He didn't work very often, but you could smell the smoke every once in a while, and you could hear his hammer. I never met him. Mr. Leatherwood was his name, but he was still working the shop when I was a kid. But the shop is totally original. It's got an early anvil in there. It's got leather bellows. It has all of the tools that were ever in the in the blacksmith shop itself. So it's a remarkable little building. And you'll notice the shop is 2 stories, and on the right-hand side was the forge, the iron forging part of the shop on the single level, and on the other side, they actually made wagons in here. I said that the peddlers would be carrying locks and so forth. Well, the blacksmiths were specialized to a large extent. A country smith like this, he would have shod the horses that were still around. He would have welded the chain. It was the only way they had to weld. Made wagons, wagon wheels, fixed your tires for you, straightened out any bent farm machinery. If you needed hardware for your barn or corn crib, you'd walk up to the blacksmith shop and he could make heavy strap hinges and pinions to fit out your farm with whatever hardware you needed, but couldn't do the finished work that the British did. It was a pretty spring day, so I thought I'd walk around to the back, and when I did, it was so pretty I had to take a picture. And I'm very much of the opinion when the old boys got to Chester County, they decided they would stay. We have the most protracted and beautiful springs and falls of any place that I've ever been. So here's the back of the blacksmith shop, and some interesting stuff. I love the sway back roof on the forging side, and the chimney, a little fire pot there that goes straight down into the forge. It's where the smoke in the blacksmith shop would come out. The space outside there under the roof, I'm sure that on the left-hand side, if people had horses that needed to get shod, they would have tied them up out there. Blacksmith would have made the shoes inside and come outside and worked on the horse where there was room. As I said, they also made wagons in here, so there was a lot of woodworking going on. They made all the metal fittings on the forge side, all the wood parts on the other side. They probably assembled the wagons outside under this cover. Double doors upstairs on the second floor. Rumor has it that there was a ramp that went up there originally, and when the wagons were finished, they'd pull them up there and they would paint them because it was clean. Hello, Bill the Blacksmith again. I would very much like to thank you for spending your time watching this video. First one I ever did, a little bit late on content, but it's my intent to flesh this channel out with other videos detailing hardware in colonial America, how it was used, where it was used, when it was used. I'd like to include videos go forward on the channel that take you for a walk through a national park, a local park, something historic, and tell you what I see as a restoration blacksmith. Why this, why that? The hardware on the shutters, the ironwork on the streets of Philadelphia, Alexandria, Charleston, other old towns, and just walk through things that I find interesting and share them with you. Give you some background knowledge and make it easier for you to make an informed decision if you do have a project coming up that's going to involve historic hardware, or if you just want to learn more about your town, about your country and history, about your own home. So thank you very much again. Be well.